Here we go, folks. We're on. I wasn't looking at the camera again. Here we are. It's Thursday, January 11th, and January's the fastest month in the year, I think, because you get through Christmas and you got a few other things, and it all works out, and then you turn around, it's the 15th, and you get your W-2s, and it's the 20th. Before you know it, it's February 1st. But this year's a little different because we have all the presidential elections, and we have local elections for chancellor and all the state and local special elections, and now looks like we're going to have a judge, judicial election, Bob McNeese. A great guy. Bob's been judge here since, I don't know, the 80s maybe. And I know he graduated from University of Tennessee, graduated high school in 60 in Oak Ridge, I believe, ran cross country, was a military veteran, did a lot of work. And Bob is one of the great Oak Ridgers. I mean, I remember when his father was in politics with A.K. Bissell and others. But my congratulations goes out to Bob McNeese, who's just done an outstanding job. But anyway, his replacement will have to run and get on the ballot, and somebody will be appointed in March, and then they're going to have an election. I think it's one of those dual elections where he has to run in August and November, according to Brad. So we'll figure out what that is. Our guest tonight is Jeff Cole, our clerk since the Buchanan administration, and he has done a great job. And I do a lot of polling. People know my background, and Jeff's one of the more popular elected officials in Anderson County. And when you give out license plates all day, you should be. And he's done a great job though, over the years and been receptive to his people. And he's the Gary Long of inside the building.
There you go.
I think Gary's the outside most valuable player kind of guy.
Especially this time of the year if we snow or ice.
You know, it's true. He makes that joke, but the truth of the matter is, folks, road superintendents lose when there's a big snow, and then people can't get anywhere, and they get upset. And we haven't had 8 inches of snow, and Gary went in it'll be 26 years next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember it was a great election, wasn't it?
It was.
So it was. So anyway, we got that point, and Gary's done a great job, and he prayed to the snow gods, and it's worked out for him. But Gary works hard. Gary
He does.
And you know, to be fair, Gary's my age. We graduated together, late 60s, and Gary works as hard as he did when he was 35. He just does a great job.
He does.
All right, Jeffrey, what's going on in Anderson County now? Jeffrey's in charge of all the license plates and the registrations and the business, so we have more encounters with him, and we're going to talk about the services and some different things, and changes in state law, increases in fees, things of that nature, which we all get. John Alley was on last week.
Okay.
John doesn't have a lot of fees that affect us much, except for registration of deeds and stuff.
Right.
And him and Shelton, and
they're
all in cahoots up there, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, they interact all their offices, the trustee, and Tim,
Regina,
and all that. Regina and all that. Yes.
They run cover, don't they?
They do.
They do. That's what they got to.
They do. I think there's over 40,000
I can remember when it was Vernon and Rodney and Rick Meredith and you know, we same old thing 25 years ago.
Yes.
They kept those same offices.
They did. Let me add one thing about Bob
McNeese.
Judge McNeese. He's a great golfer too.
I
played some golf with him.
Good golfer. Good golfer.
I can't touch him, but no, good
him
guy.
and Don Layton used to play once a week back in the late 70s and 80s.
They did, but he's an excellent golfer.
McNeese is steady. He's a good athlete, runner across.
Yeah,
he was that's good. I remember that. I'm glad you brought that up.
I played against him in some tournaments, and it's never pretty. He always wins.
Yeah, and he hit that. I don't know if he still plays, but he hit that ball up into the 70s for sure.
He sure does. I've seen him over at Centennial. So
have you? Okay, good.
But no, I'm glad to be here. Like I said, it's been 2 years.
We usually try to get Jeff on you annually, but we've been really busy. We've had I think, how many shows are we on, guys? 90-something? 91st show of Between the Lines. It's been over 2 years.
Brad pays well. I don't blame you.
Brad does pay well. I think the pay goes the other way, though. I have to buy the time. But we try. It's a community service. Our sponsors help us a lot.
He does. Yeah, y'all got great sponsors.
Oh yeah, Energy Community, other things.
Yes,
I really like all of those people, and I'm very excited to have those sponsors. We're going to have to reboot them and get them started again this year. But right now, I'm floating the boat. Okay, tell me what's going on. What's changed?
We've had a lot of things, not major things within the state. I guess a couple of the things that went in effect last week, and literally we'd kind of heard some of this stuff through the grapevine that some of these changes were coming, and two of the changes that that we had to address Tuesday morning when the new year started was if you have a hybrid vehicle,
Which is part electric, part gas.
part electric, part gas, that fee is now $100 plus your $29 regular registration.
So if you own a gas vehicle, it's only $29.
It's just $29.
But if you own a hybrid,
it's $129.
I got it.
Now, if you've got a specialty tag with that, it'll be $165. And if you got
Jeff doesn't get this money.
no,
He sends
no,
it to the
all-
state and they send
no,
it on.
all that money's allocated to the state. We send that in monthly to them,
Mm-hmm.
and the money is designated for education of the hybrid of building these charging stations and things throughout the
I got it.
state. Some of that stuff's vague right now because it's kind of
Sure. Mm-hmm.
new with this green energy. And the other thing is if you have an electric car,
Elon Musk wants me to ask you that question. What happens?
it's $200.
$200 a year plus
Right,
29?
plus 29.
$229.
And-
So you'll need a job to drive that.
Yes, and I've got a friend that's got an electric vehicle, and he wasn't upset. I called him Tuesday night, trying to ease
Well,
him
if
into
you can
it.
show that they're going to get more electrical stations, and that money's going through the state
yeah,
to get more
that's
EV charging stations, I
right,
should say.
right.
That
All
makes
that
a big
stuff's
difference.
allocated, and like I said, literally, all jokes aside, I got an email Monday night late, just kind of going over that. We knew it was coming, but we honestly.
Did they pass it last session?
They did.
Well, they should have known that.
They did, and like I said, they could have rolled it out back July 1.
Right.
But they started it January to December. So
Smart move.
right, and it kind of cleared up some confusion on that end. So those are some of the big things that just, and that won't affect a lot of Anderson Countyans. I don't have the numbers in front of me. We don't have a lot of these hybrids. We don't have a lot of these electric cars. We're seeing more and more of that. One thing that we have seen in the office over the last, I'd say, 3 or 4 years, it kind of started a little bit before COVID and then just increased, is these Carvanas and stuff. People
What's a
buy
Carvana?
these people. That's a company where you buy these cars kind of online, or they'll send it to your house and you drive it for 10 or 12 days. So these businesses have really took off. My nephew bought one out of Texas through Carvana, and it was a pretty neat process. I was worried about the paperwork because, each state's different, but they were pretty easy to work with. And like I said, those are kind of the new changes. People will do that. I'm not a big person like going to a dealership. I'd rather do it online or talk through email to buy a car. That's just kind of the way I am. And I've done that before, and it's been a pretty smooth transition into doing that. Some people still like going and looking at it and seeing it, and I understand that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But those two fee increases, like I said, won't affect a lot of people here in Anderson County, but it has affected some, and we've had to deal with that. And the public's been real good to work with, and we try to do good with that. Another thing that we've been busy on the last year and a half has been our passport service. We do that in both our offices.
Secretary, she needs one. I mean, they're
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, her and
Yes.
Kayla, but
We do those at our Oak Ridge office there off in
do you? Okay,
Emory
good,
Valley. We
good.
do them on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays.
why should I have a passport?
And-
Tell the
Well,
if I'm not going to Germany, why do I need a passport?
Well, technically, you really don't. That's a good point. You don't need it unless you're going out of the country, obviously. And I think now with security and things like that, it's probably not a bad idea when you do travel overseas.
You can't go overseas without it.
Right, true. Well, right, unless it's we have an agreement, which yes, you're right. And we do anywhere between 400 and 500 a year, maybe 600, give or take some, which is not a lot. The Oak Ridge Post Office does them every day. They do them from 9 to 2, I believe. So we've got good coverage down here for our citizens to get those needs. We get a lot of plant traffic that needs passports and
Yeah, I
stuff.
would think so, yeah.
So we take care of those. We work with Congressman Flashman's office, which they're great to work with.
Yeah, Chuck's the
Chuck
best,
does
yeah.
a great job with that and his staff. So, but that's really picked up ever since COVID kind of died down. The travel's picked up. One thing that I will add about the driver's license, we do renewals and duplicates here in Oak Ridge as well. President Biden has pushed back the Real ID till May of 2025, so you
The
don't
deadline?
have, right, you don't have to have it this year for the Gold Star. I don't know, do you have one?
I think I have a gold
Yes,
star.
yes, you are a Gold
On my
Star
fourth
applicant.
replacement.
I don't know if you can see it right
Can you,
there.
can you zoom in on that?
But it's right there, it's.
Where do I want to give them my information for? Let me do this.
Yeah, you bet, that's a good idea, yes, yeah.
I mean,
Everybody
too
knows
many
you, but you don't want to get.
but there's a
get
gold
that.
star. I got it without the gold.
Yeah, and what that does is that gets you into government buildings, federal buildings quicker, and it also.
I used it this summer to fly.
Well, I'm sure you use it a lot in your
Yeah,
capacity.
I do, but in going to federal stuff. But I guess the point being that a passport would alleviate a lot of those needs.
It does, and
How much costs in a passport?
They are right at to anywhere between $140 and $175, depending on the expedite fees and things like that.
Everything's so high.
It has gone up. It has gone up, and
So if you drive an electric vehicle and you need a passport, you're almost to a nickel before you
better
start.
go to ATM and get some money because it's it has gone up. Unfortunately, the state sets those fees on the electric and hybrid, and then the federal side sets the passport stuff. But
Where does money for a passport go?
that's a good question. That's the federal government, so I'm not.
Do we know anything?
Yeah,
Where
that's what I was
anything
getting ready to say.
goes?
Sometimes they can't make a sandwich, so I don't know exactly. A lot of it goes to cover the background checks and things like that, because when we send all the information in, they do right now times are anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks to get one back. You can expedite it, which is about 14 days, but you're going to pay another $50-$60 to expedite it. And sometimes you have to, because
I get a lot of calls.
It comes up.
Contacts at Chuck's.
Right.
But you can go to Atlanta and expedite something.
You can. They don't really encourage that anymore
guess not.
because of, and it's an overused term, but COVID and things really changed.
Yeah.
When COVID hit, they suspended that service that we offered, and they did it statewide and national. They got, at one time, they had 3 million
I'm
passport
hoping this
applications
is not a real person.
on the line.
Janice Sample. So you
Right.
get the sample. That's
Sample,
where
there
know
you
it's
go.
not real,
Yeah,
right?
and it's up there on my side, on the right-hand side.
That gold star tells somebody what? That you've been double checked or something?
You've been double checked, that you're clear, you're not a threat to society or a threat to any watch list or anything like that. And it's not bad. I've not got mine yet, even though I work there. I've got a badge for the courthouse, so I kind of rely on that one, which that won't get me in a federal
Now, when
building.
I go in the courthouse, say I went to Knoxville Federal Courthouse, they would look for that gold
Yes,
star?
yes.
That helps them screen
It does, and it's kind
What
of
do you do
assurance
to
to them.
clear somebody? How do you? I apply for my license. I said I want that gold star. Who do you send it off to?
We send that to the Department of Safety, and then they send it out. They've got their powers to be. They'll run background checks on their system to see if anything's flagged up on you or me or whoever.
Okay.
Back in the day, and I'm pretty sure they don't tell us a lot of that due to security, but back in the day they used to do retina scans. We'll send those pictures in, and they've got all this digital software. It's really fascinating to me, and they'd make sure that's way movie.
I'm gonna close my eyes on my next license check. I guess.
Yeah, that is wild stuff, but that's how they used to do it, and I'm pretty sure they do.
If I apply for a gold star license, instead of calling it a gold star, what's it called?
Well, it's called Real ID.
Real ID. That's what I want. The Real ID
is the
program.
official term for it.
Is it more expensive to apply for?
No, it's not. It's
Same
not.
price.
Same price to do it.
I got it. Okay, that's good news, folks.
And it's like I said, this is that concept of Real ID literally got started in 2001 after 9/11. I can remember when I first got elected going to Nashville in 05 and 06, talking to the Department of Safety about this, because that's a federal law that passed. I think as of right now, 20 years later, roughly, I think we've got about 10 or 11 states that are in compliance. We're one of those states, Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee's always ahead of the curve.
But Tennessee, or the safety, has always worked tirelessly to get these regulations met and things like that.
Before we go to our first break, when I was writing grants and all that, we had a problem 20 years ago. Tennessee did not want to comply with the seatbelt being a primary offense.
I remember that.
Until one day they called us up and said, we're going to withhold your highway funds.
That's how they
and
do
that,
it.
we did pretty quick after that, because that was like $95 million.
Yes,
which
that's
today
how.
would be $300 or $400
That's how they do it with the
Yeah.
commercial tags and
Yeah.
stuff that we have to pull. Highways
That's it.
usage is what that's called on our
Highway
end.
usage, okay.
And they do that. They'll pull federal funding.
Okay, and that's their
they can.
leverage. That's
And
their
they
leverage.
can.
They got the money. That's right. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Just take a short break here and thank our sponsors.
Daniel Forrester has been trusted by Anderson County families for nearly 2 decades. Daniel has appeared in Anderson County Chancery, Circuit, Sessions, and Juvenile Court thousands of times over the past decade. A Rule 31 mediator, Daniel has been trusted to mediate hundreds of cases across Anderson County. A community leader, Daniel has worked closely with local officials to make Anderson County a better place. A conservative and dedicated husband and father, Daniel's faith has shaped his character and integrity. On March 5th, vote Daniel Forrester for Anderson County Chancellor.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
When should you get tested for COVID-19? You have symptoms of COVID-19, such as runny nose, congestion, sore throat, fever, cough, shortness of breath, muscle pain, headache, chills, or loss of taste or smell. Current testing recommendations say everyone should get tested immediately if they have symptoms of COVID-19. If you have symptoms, be sure to follow recommendations about how long to stay home and away from others. For more information, visit our If You Are Sick or Test Positive webpage.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. Let me take a second and thank our sponsors. Appreciate everything Susanna Navarro and they do to help our show. Sean Gleason at IB3, one of my good friends, Oak Ridge Utility District, and Sasha's getting married, isn't she, Brad? Congratulations to Sasha. We appreciate all her support. April, yeah, good guy, great family. She's married into. Free Medical Clinic. Our guys, they do a great job. The nurses and everybody had a great ball drop on New Year's. I could hear it from my house. They did a lot of things, and I appreciate all of those people sponsoring our show. Oak Ridge, all of them. So that's where we're at. Okay, let's talk about the office. How many offices? Still 3 offices, right?
We've got the 3 offices, yes. We've got the courthouse, we've got the main office there with the drive-through, and then we've got the Oak Ridge office off Emory Valley Road.
With the drive-through.
And with the drive-through, and we share that with our Regina Copeland, our trustee. We cross-train some of our employees with that to help offset some of the
That's
training
smart,
stuff.
yeah.
It does.
Unless it's a complicated issue, you don't have any issues.
No, it's not.
And then you got the one up in
And I've got
Norris.
the Norris, and
I want to talk about that for a second.
Well, we're getting ready to move it down to the other shopping center, about 1,000 feet down.
Down towards Andersonville?
Yes, down right beside the Mexican restaurant and the drugstore.
That's
there.
in the same facility, though.
No, it's a different shopping center. It's different.
But they're right
landlord.
next to each other.
Right, yeah.
So they look like one
yeah,
continuous.
yeah, they do. But we're moving in the one
Well,
that's
let me
got
tell you, I got a
more
complaint.
space.
that land around the Outer Banks, right where they put up all the political signs when they vote in your office, all that kind of stuff.
They're in Norris?
Yeah, they're
Okay,
in Norris. Okay.
okay.
So Norris is claiming they own all that ground and property right there.
Well, that's in the city limits.
It is in the
It
city
is.
limits?
It is in the city limits, city of Norris. Yes. So I don't know.
So your shopping center's in the city limits?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that makes sense. I got
And
it.
well, like I said, I put my sign up there too. I hope they've not.
Well,
I hope they've not complained.
One candidate put it up, or two or
Okay.
three did. One took it down. They don't make the others take it down.
Right, I understand
we
that.
played that
Right.
game, haven't we?
Oh yeah, many nights.
Many times.
2 or
So
3
that's
o'clock
it.
in the morning.
And I want to remind everybody to, March 5th, we have the presidential primary. Monday, we get started. Monday, we have the Iowa caucus.
Yeah, you're correct.
And,
with bad weather coming too, I saw a report on that. It doesn't. I hope they get out and caucus, but
Well, it's a
well,
weird place because
it
your
is.
Democrats can vote in this primary and Republicans vote in that primary and
Yes,
independents.
correct.
So no count how Iowa works and comes out every
No.
time. But that's happening Monday, the 15th, and that'll get us all kicked off and going for the season. Supreme Court's out there right now, but they'll be in a few days, I'd say. And we'll get it all going to see who can run and can't. And I figure everybody gets in. But we'll see what happens.
that's
I do a
more-
lot of polling, and I can tell you that it's tightened up. It's really in the Republican side. Obviously, President Trump is ahead, but it's a two-way race now. And Nikki Haley's closed ahead of all the rest of them, and so it's going to be interesting. I mean, there's some other possibilities. I wanted to count DeSantis, very smart guy, some other people, but polls tend to take on lives and momentum of their own. And
They do.
There's a lot of publicity out there, so we'll see. When they started hitting her on China, you knew right away she was gaining in the polls.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we laughed about that, but anyway,
that works.
so anyway, March 5th in Anderson County, you got to go vote. You can start on Valentine's Day. Easiest way to remember. We start voting on Valentine's Day, and
And they'll vote in our Norris.
that's why I brought it up. You'll
In the
vote
new office,
in your
exactly,
new
yeah.
office. Oh, you're going all the way down to your new
Yeah,
office?
yeah. Mark, it'll be me, Election Commission, Mark Stevens, and then me and Regina will be there. So yes, and we're getting 500
You're all
more
in the new
square.
building.
Yeah, we're getting 500 more square feet, so it'll be a lot easier. We have new voting machines this year. I'm
Yes.
sure you knew that.
Yeah.
And Mark's got some new equipment with that. So we needed a little bit more space for him, and we all share that and split that. So that's
So if
that's
I'm
a
in
good.
Fairview and I'm coming down to vote and I pull in, I used to pull right there at the light into the parking lot and go right into your building. I have to go down a couple hundred yards?
Yes, that's all you got to
And
do.
then pull in down there?
Just pull in there, and like I said, we've got more room, and it's a matter of fact, they're finishing up the paint and the floor.
Is there
today.
adequate parking where everybody can
Oh,
go
yeah,
and work the
plenty,
polls
yes,
and do all
yes,
that?
yes.
You got it
Yeah.
marked off? Okay,
Yes,
good.
yeah.
I think the bigger vote will come from that area. I think those people
Well,
will be very active in this
we
election.
get a lot of people that drive up from Clinton because they don't want to, go to the Civic Center for early voting.
Well, it's not at the Civic Center.
and,
It's been the fairgrounds for years.
Well, I know that's true. That shows how old I am, but yes, you're correct.
So
They don't.
we made the mistake the other day
Yeah,
talking to somebody.
they don't want to go there. They'd rather come to our office because it's
Well, if
10
you're
or
on that
12
side of
steps.
Clinton-
Yeah.
if you're on that side of Clinton, it ain't bad.
But see, I'll usually early vote down here in Oak Ridge, though.
Yeah, that's
And I
the way-
live-
it depends
so
where you work, doesn't it?
Well, I'm down here so much, and we
We'll
eat
see.
all the
We'll
time
see.
down here. So
I'm going
it's-
to predict 10 or 11,000 voters. If there's any disruption in the presidential process, it could go down. But I think 10 or 11,000 voters is about what you would. We had 10 or 11 in. We've had 2,800 new registered voters in the last 2 years.
Oh, we've had
But
them move
10 or
in.
11,000 voted in 16. About 5 voted in 20 when there wasn't much to vote, much to do there. So 16. We'll see what we'll say. I'm going to say 10 or 11,000. What do you think? You're a connoisseur.
I said 15. Everybody thinks I'm kind of an outlier.
Yeah, you're a little
but
bit out there.
But I think people's ready to vote. I think we get phone calls for wanting to know where to vote and when to vote.
Mm-hmm.
That's not picked up yet. I expect it with Iowa coming in and then New Hampshire in the next few weeks.
Well,
we'll
tend
do
to see in
that.
presidential primaries, Republican presidential primaries, bigger votes in the rural areas of the
Right,
county,
right.
less in the urban
That's
areas
exactly
as much.
right. You're
So
right.
we'll see where it goes
Yeah.
and what happens. Because if you're a Democrat and you are proud and you want to vote, the president doesn't have much competition. Right?
No.
So there's no reason for you to get too excited. But we do have a local election for chancellor with 4 candidates in it. Daniel Forrester and Jamie Brooks and Roger Miller and Hauser, Evan Hauser, all nice, all four nice people.
And if I'm not mistaken, don't we have some school board?
I don't think so on this ballot, do we?
I thought we had one primary, I think.
Oh, Aaron Wells is going to get me.
Well, we got,
Aaron's running.
I forgot him. I was going to come after that.
Aaron's over here in District 6 has a commission primary in the Republican primary. But I don't think he's opposed.
Well, he's unopposed.
Ebony's in the other one, right?
Exactly.
Okay, Ebony Capshaw.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, I think there might be a school board race that has
in the rural areas
has primary opposition. Yes, I think so. Don't quote me on that, but
interesting.
I found that out about a week ago. We were busy when all that stuff.
We'll try to call during the next break, but I think that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about your staffing. You've got how many total employees, full-time employees?
I've got 16 full-time employees
for 3 offices.
And yes,
that's not bad.
And I've
half
got,
of them are in Clinton.
I've got 4 I've got 4 part-time people, and then we split. Like I said, some of those are trained to do trustee, and then some of Regina's are trained to do just the express part. We don't do any of the heavy lifting on her side, and vice versa. And to be honest with you, Alan, when I was driving down here tonight, I started out in Grove Center. I don't know if you remember where the clerk's office.
Right down over there.
I was a deputy clerk, so I spent 5 years down here, and back then we had like 12 employees, but now I've added 3 or 4 services since then, so that requires more help and more training and things like that. And like I said, we do right at 18 different services, and we are, and then we take care of the county commission minutes, and I help with Annette Pruitt. She's their administrative assistant.
Been there a long time.
She does a good job, and that's a hard job when you've got 16 commissioners, and then you've got other departments you have to deal with.
I can name a couple of them that'd be a hard job, but I mean, those guys out there you can't trust.
Yeah, but like I said, the drive-throughs, and I don't know if you probably talked about this on former shows, the one-entry checkpoint in Clinton especially, people would rather go through that drive-through for the express side of it, and we encourage it. It's there.
Is that the bank?
Yes.
I thought you closed that for a while.
No. Well, it's funny you say. This time last year, we had a water main broke, and I told my staff, we did a little staff meeting yesterday morning, and I made myself a note, but I told my staff, I said, next Tuesday night's going to be 7, and next Wednesday night's going to be 3. I said, be sure that we turn that heat up before we leave, because that's what happened to us last year. We had a cold night, and it just kind of fell through the cracks, and it was unfortunate, which we were down for about 6 weeks, but we got all that back and running. And Regina is so busy right now with taxes because they're due at the end of February. So those drive-throughs here in Oak Ridge as well as in Clinton, they're hopping every day. And like a cold day, you don't want to get out. It's cold, and I don't blame you. So hey, use it. I mean that's what it's there for. Which we've got everything on our website, which you can you can renew and fill out all the pertinent stuff you need. So those platforms are there to make it easier for our customers, and that's one of the things. I guess my website and our drive-throughs are the two most things that I'm proudest the most. Because when I did start, there was only 4 or 5 clerks in the state that had websites.
Yeah.
And I think we were number 6. And we've just added on every year. And I'm going to talk about this later. Me and our circuit court clerk, Rex Lynch, we are getting ready to roll out, probably summer, early fall, a app on your phone where you can even be more engaged within our office.
Make sure he pays his half.
Well, that's yes, and like I said, I'll pay my half, he'll pay his. But yes, but that'll be fun to do because that just gives our public more access to our office, and that's what it's about. If these services don't work for the public, then I'm not doing my job.
Well, tell me about the kiosk in Oak Ridge. I went down there one time, and it worked for some things, didn't for others. What can you do on a kiosk?
Well,
on a Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, what can I do?
The kiosks come in right after COVID, and that is strictly just for renewals of your decal.
Of tags.
Of tags, yes. And
so if I want to pay the $2.29, I can still get on there?
Right,
okay.
Right. And again, our vendor is constantly upgrading and making sure all the bells and whistles work. we started the kiosk, and then the next year we got new metal. So the kiosk was kind of limited then. You could just do your specialty tags then.
Right.
Now everything's back up now, and we do probably, I looked at our numbers 2 weeks ago. We average about 150 to 200 kiosks a month.
That's not bad.
Now, that's really good because that's 200 people that
Well, that's
don't
5
have
or
to
6 a
wait.
day, yeah.
Yeah, and
How many kiosks?
we just have one.
In Oak Ridge,
but
right.
me and Regina are going in probably fall. The same vendors got it where you can pay your property tax and do your tags. So we're going to move. We're going to buy another one, probably somewhere else in the county. We've not got that far yet. This new move in Norris kind of took us by surprise. But it is strictly, Saturday night. You're leaving Sunday morning. You got to get a decal or a tag. You can run down there and get it, and it's been very successful with it. And we pride ourselves in that because that's just another way. Before when you did it online, you got a receipt, and if you did get stopped, you could show the authorities, hey, I renewed this last night, here's my receipt. They'll probably let you go till it comes in because we have to, and usually we'll work those in-line or online renewals 2 or 3 times a day. So if you did it this morning, it's going to be in the mail this afternoon.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
so we turn those around just about every 4 or 5 hours during the week. But the kiosk just makes it so much easier.
Well, you can
just
renew
do it.
your tags
It's there.
7/24.
Yeah, 7/24.
Let's take a second break, and we'll be right back with Between the Lines.
Daniel Forrester has been trusted by Anderson County families for nearly 2 decades. Daniel has appeared in Anderson County Chancery, Circuit, Sessions, and Juvenile Court thousands of times over the past decade. A Rule 31 mediator, Daniel has been trusted to mediate hundreds of cases across Anderson County. A community leader, Daniel has worked closely with local officials to make Anderson County a better place. A conservative and dedicated husband and father, Daniel's faith has shaped his character and integrity. On March 5th, vote Daniel Forrester for Anderson County Chancellor.
We should never lose sight of our health. To keep moving forward, let's not forget everything we've learned. Limit the salty food options. Make your own daily exercise routine. And always receive regular checkups. More than anything, we have learned how important these small steps can make a big difference, so we can all continue to move forward together.
All right, crew, let's get started. All right.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
Welcome back. We're talking about all the changes in county government, and we've been talking a little bit, of course, with Jeff about his staffing. What would we like to move on to now? I mean, just say everybody interacts with your office. It's more important than, like, Tim, you interact when you sell a house or you get a title or something, very rarely. But you interact with over and over again.
We do. We average right at touching and seeing about 120,000 people a year. That doesn't count the phone that we do.
Yeah,
and
so it's
emails and
1.7
things.
apiece or 2 apiece, or
And
that's good.
you know, if I've got 3 cars, so you're going to touch the office 3 times.
Yeah.
I think you've got 2 or 3 yourself now. It's
I
hard
try
to
to get
believe
them all
your
done
son's
at one
driving
time.
now. I can't believe your son's
My
driving.
son's
but-
old enough to
but
drive. He
you
don't go
know,
anywhere much like
well,
this generation,
well,
but he
that's
goes down. He
yeah.
gets to Chick-fil-A,
Oh, yeah,
and he
that's
gets to
important.
school, and that's all that
That's
matters.
important.
I'm good at those two.
So you're going to see us, and if you need a business license, you're going to touch us. And if you one thing about business license, and it just dawned on me, one of the big changes that happened, it passed in last July, but it really didn't take effect till about 3 or 4 weeks ago. If you are a business and you make less than $100,000 a year in gross sales, not income, but gross sales, you don't even have to have a business license anymore. You can downgrade to what's called an activities license, and those are $15 a year. You just pay a flat $15 a year regardless of what your gross sales is, as long as you don't go over 100,000.
Right.
And we've had some calls on that. People have downgraded to the activities license, and that was a big change. When I first got elected, it was 3,000 or more you had to have a business license, and then they bumped it out to 10,000 for about 4 or 5 years.
What businesses
and now,
have to have a business license?
any business that is selling retail or anything like that, they have to have one. Your counseling and law firms and stuff like that doesn't have to.
Right. Consultants put that on there, right?
Consultants don't have to.
We've debated that for years.
That's a 3 a.m. Let's just push that out of the amendment, and we all know how that works.
Yeah.
But that's just if you're in
If you're handling
retail.
tangible stuff,
Yes,
yeah, I
yes.
got
Stuff,
Things that aren't taxable.
yeah,
don't
stuff
need-
on the side of the road, these fruits, these people that you see sell fruit, as long as they've grown it themselves, they don't have to have, that's called wholesale, they don't have to have one. And we've got about 35 to 4,000 businesses here in Anderson County that has to have licenses. And that's not a big change, but $100,000 or less, that's a lot easier paperwork for the business owner.
Sure.
And that's been a good thing, I think, overall. Because
100,000 a year or less. You don't have to
100,000
have
or less gross sales, you can get what's called an activities license. You need that if you don't want. Now you can still keep a business license. The state's going to kind of frown on it because see we don't even take those payments
Trying to
anymore.
cut back on work processing.
Right, exactly. All of that now.
So what does an activity license do? You have to file reports?
No, you just pay it. We'll send you a renewal notice every April, and you just send us $15, and that keeps you in the system. You can get your sales tax number and things like that still, and that's what a
But
lot
you
of
don't have to file a monthly report.
right, nothing like that,
and
that
it's just became a burden.
yeah,
You
that
hire
just
an
kind of
accountant.
streamlines it and makes it a little bit cheaper on the money side as far as the
And
paperwork.
that application would be done online?
You
through the
can do
state?
it online with
Can you
us.
do it at the office?
Yeah, either way, yes. You can do it at the main office
good
there in
thing to
Clinton.
have.
So and that was a change that happened, like I said, about 6 months ago, but it really, now they're sending out letters, now they're educating the public with that just come see us and we'll swap you over in the system and get you
Good.
to a
Activity.
minimum size or activity.
Right.
Yeah. So
That's
those-
good. I
yeah.
like that. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. We're trying to make things more efficient and more affordable and more comfortable for businesses to operate.
Well, we need to be business friendly and me and you've talked years about this, and you're agree with me, I'm sure. We need to make, especially local government, work. Yeah, it drives me crazy when government doesn't work, and I guess I'm crazy a lot because it don't work a lot sometimes, but local government should work. That's, it's all taxpayers' dollars, but local, we see these people every day. We eat with them, we go to church with them, we go to ball games with them,
Yep.
and we want to help them. And, if the services are not working, then we got to fix it somehow. And that's where, and I am blessed to still be the East Tennessee president of our Clerks Association.
Wow.
Matter of fact, we're meeting here in a few weeks, and those are some things that are coming down the pike that we're trying to clean up to make it more efficient, push it more to a web on-site basis where you can get to the services. We'll still be there if you need questions answered or if you want to come in. But getting the data, getting the information out to the public, I think is number one in government, because if you can't educate the people that pay our salaries, then we're not doing our job.
You went in 2002.
Right.
Because I remember the primary and the general in
That's
98.
correct.
And 2002, so you've been there 22 years roughly, 21 in some point. So when you go back out, you have been there. That's a long vet. How many people in East Tennessee have been a clerk longer than you?
That's a good question. We've had a lot of retirements. As of right now, Bill Knowles from Hamilton County, I don't know if you know Bill or not, good guy, got elected in 1971.
Is it Polk County? One of my counties in one of my races in 10th Judicial District, it might have been McMinn or Monroe. Lady had been there for 30-something years.
Yeah. Well, Bill's been there since 1971, and we thought he was going to retire in 22, and I called him to check on him. Sounds as good, and he wears a coat and tie. He's old school.
Yeah.
He's there every day and does just a good Christian man and works hard at it. And let me tell you, he knows those laws. Usually, if I need a quick answer, I'll get a hold of him. His staff does a good job. Bill's the oldest. And then after that,
I don't really mean oldest in age, but longest.
He's
the oldest elected clerk.
I would
That's
say
50
there's
years.
probably one or two that were elected in the 80s, and then the rest of them are 90s.
Yeah, and this gentleman has to be in his 80s.
He is.
Right.
He is. Just a heck of a nice guy.
Yeah.
He remembers
People
Mr.
keep-
Purdy when he was clerk here.
So do
and,
I.
and yeah. And I
The
was
legend himself.
Yeah, and so he was just a wealth of knowledge, and you know this too. When people retire or they go a different direction, you lose that where you can go touch it and feel it and find it.
Well, and there's a
that's
big
important.
difference between term limits on governors and state
Oh, yeah. Oh,
reps.
yeah, definitely.
These are professional jobs that
Right.
people attain. It'd be like putting term limits on your chemistry.
Right.
I mean, that's just, I've always said that representative jobs, it's a legitimate debate. But
Well, you're seeing that in Knox County. They're term limited now, and you've got, good people over there. I know a bunch of them, and I know you probably know more than I do, but a lot of times they go into these offices and they're a little bit taken back. I had 10 years working here before I become clerk, and I would have been, I knew a lot day one when I become clerk, but man, I rested on my 10 years of experience. Experience counts.
What year did you graduate, 86?
86. Me and Tim both did, yeah.
Clinton High School.
Yeah, we sure did. We went to school together. And
A lot of people in that age group.
It is.
That's that mid-50s group. They're doing, I think they've done a lot there. Tell me about your plates. Here we go, folks, the license plates.
I always bring a few new plates. These are the last 4 or 5 plates.
This is about the budget there in the black.
In the black here. I don't know if you can. I don't know how to hold that. Hold it up there. That's called In the Black plate, and it goes to help retire millennial debt. Weston Wamp's organization kind of got that started a few years back. That's been out about a year, and that is a good seller. We get a lot of phone calls with that.
Good.
And that's where that extra money goes. All of these plates are $65, and the extra money goes anywhere between $20 and $50.
So when I
$20,
pay
$10.
$29, I get a generic option.
Right.
If I pay that extra money,
That's
I
$65.
can get that or any other kind.
Right, and that money goes to help with that debt. This here's the Jeep tag, which looks about the same, black, but it's this money, and to be honest with you, I used to keep up with this, but we've got over 200 license plates, and I just
understand.
can't do it. But this plate, you don't have to have a Jeep, but everybody that has a Jeep usually has this. This money goes to families that have lost loved ones in the military, and it helps their kids. And it's just a great, great organization and a great way
What's
to
the
fund
name
that.
of the organization?
Folds
of Honor?
No, it's not Folds of Honor, but it's.
I know our friend Sean Gleason does that. They help kids with all
Yes,
kinds
they
of stuff.
do. You can go to the website and Google that, and it gives you all that. I should have done that, but I was in that. But that is a nice cause and really a nice plate. Now, my wife was a good tennis player. This has been out not very long. I love green. That's one of my favorite colors. And the staff doesn't really like the colors of that tag, but I do. I think it looks like tennis.
It's like Notre Dame. It's okay with me.
There you go.
It's
There you
okay
go.
with me.
Now you played tennis, wouldn't you, when you were
I
young?
did. I used to play. I played all the sports,
I
yeah.
thought you did.
Yeah.
This money goes to kids' education for exercising and promoting tennis and things like that. All of these tags, or any specialty tag, you get 1,000 signatures. You have a representative sponsor that, or senator, and they run that through the House and Senate, and they approve the artwork, and then that's how you get these. And they got 1,000 people statewide to do that.
Good.
Nice tag. Tiger Haven. This is a newer one that's been out probably 3 or 4 months. This money goes to the shelter there in Rome County.
Yeah,
So it's
been a long
local,
history there.
and everybody knows the history there. And it's a pretty tag too. It's got a tiger on it, and it's green, and the color of the tiger as well. And then this last tag, I brought it because we talked about the electric cars. This money as well goes to education of how important the green energy stuff is. I think it goes to some building of some of the stations and stuff like that.
Okay.
Just a lot of these organizations statewide and really nationwide now. That's a light blue and a blue tag, but those are all available at our office. Those are $65. A big line of options now. We've got just about all the college. We've got about all the SEC tags.
Biggest seller in history since this program started, and it's on my car. In God We Trust.
Big tag.
Still sell big?
It is. It's a big tag. The state, rolled that out last year with that tag and a standard tag. I wish they'd just done the one In God We Trust. Having 2 series of tags, to be honest with you, was kind of a nightmare the first 5
I think
or 6 months.
I have In God We Trust. I'm pretty active, and my wife has the Predators.
I've seen her. I've been behind her at the red
So
light.
there's a
and seen it.
Predators for
There's
your
a
hockey
Nashville
fans.
Predators.
There's
all the UT stuff you
Titans and all
want,
the-
Titans, all the. They were going to do some more colleges, but I don't think they got the signature. Usually those
Austin P in there?
Okay,
we got Austin P tag. Okay.
Usually those alumni clubs in those colleges gets the ball rolling. They
They don't
get
have to
on.
buy anything. You just got to sign it, right?
You just got to you got to be committed to, I think, to buy the tag for 3 years. They changed that legislation.
How do you make
back.
me do that?
Well, they send you a letter if you don't, because you sign up for it and you have to do it. They don't really enforce it, but they.
Yeah, I got you.
It's kind of an honor system within the club. My wife had the Choose Life tag forever, and then she switched to the Isaiah
I like that.
57
Yeah, okay.
tag. So that's a good organization as well. But just tons of these. You can go to our website, AndersonCountyClerk.com, and it'll take you to the state's website, and you can spend all afternoon and night just looking at those tags, and it tells you the money, the breakdown, and all the agencies that it goes to. The best seller, talking of best seller, as far as the specialties go, has always been the Smoky Mountain tag. I should have brought one of those, because that's always, everybody wants to look
the
at that.
mountains in the
It's got the
background.
mountains. They annually do raise over $1 million a year with that tag.
Wow.
So and that money goes to help keep the park up and make it pretty, and we all love the Smokies and our national and state parks.
Gotta have it.
So very, very
All
interesting
right,
with all these
let's go
tags.
to our final break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about Terry Mullins a little bit. We're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, because you love the Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys, yeah.
And we're going to talk about a few other political things, because you and I love politics, and then we'll be out of here. I want to thank Daniel Forrester, my good friend running for chancellor. You all have seen Daniel in his commercials, but he has been a sponsor of the show for pretty much almost a year, and he just does a great attorney in the courthouse a lot.
Yeah, see him a lot, talk to him.
Yeah, he's part of your group.
He's busy.
Yeah, he is busy.
He's busy. He's busy.
I think he's had like 2,700 cases in
Yeah.
10 years of it. He's just overwhelmed with people. But a lot of attorneys are now. We don't have as many people setting up in criminal practice and civil practice and family law as we used to, et cetera. So let's take a break, and we'll come right back and finish up.
Daniel Forrester has been trusted by Anderson County families for nearly 2 decades. Daniel has appeared in Anderson County Chancery, Circuit, Sessions, and Juvenile Court thousands of times over the past decade. A Rule 31 mediator, Daniel has been trusted to mediate hundreds of cases across Anderson County. A community leader, Daniel has worked closely with local officials to make Anderson County a better place. A conservative and dedicated husband and father, Daniel's faith has shaped his character and integrity. On March 5th, vote Daniel Forrester for Anderson County Chancellor.
From Oak Ridge, Tennessee, IB3 Global Solutions conducts operations around the world to enhance the U.S. national security posture and minimize radiological and nuclear threats. IB3 Global Solutions. Mission first.
Fan Gear Barn is Oak Ridge's source for new and vintage sports fan gear from around the world of sports. Find your favorite team gear at Fan Gear Barn, located at 977 Oak Ridge Turnpike, across from the hospital. Open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 6 days a week. Closed on Sundays.
At Navarro, we partner with our clients to advance clean energy and deliver effective solutions for complex challenges in the nuclear and environmental fields.
When should you get tested for COVID-19? You have symptoms of COVID-19, such as runny nose, congestion, sore throat, fever, cough, shortness of breath, muscle pain, headache, chills, or loss of taste or smell. Current testing recommendations say everyone should get tested immediately if they have symptoms of COVID-19. If you have symptoms, be sure to follow recommendations about how long to stay home and away from others. For more information, visit our If You Are Sick or Test Positive webpage.
All right, crew, let's get started. Sure.
Don't ignore the law. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 days before any digging project so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811.
Welcome back to Between the Lines. We're talking with County Clerk Jeff Cole, and we've gone over a lot of stuff, costs, changes to the office, the new license tags, different things. And you can call Jeff anytime at the courthouse, 457
6230.
6230.
That's a direct line in. You don't have to go to the
direct
switchboard.
line into his office. You don't have to go through the switchboard and ask any other questions you have. Good friend of mine. Good friend of yours, but a very special guy who did so much for this community and was so knowledgeable, supported a lot of my people, did a lot of stuff. But he went to school with me. He was a senior when I was a sophomore, but we lost Terry Mullins quickly.
Sure did. We did.
It was sad.
It was,
More than 400 people showed up to his funeral.
I bet, yeah.
It was unbelievable. And I think, you don't really realize it as a generation. Now, we've been losing more and more people. Then a giant like that goes, and you think, oh, boy. And here we are. I mean, just almost dumbfounded.
Well,
what a great man.
Well, and just like you said, Terry's done so much for the community and really for the county. I mean, he had a big footprint. His family did and does still even. And, we would always see Terry down here when we'd eat and stuff, and he always wanted to talk and, just catch up about courthouse business and things like that. And just,
it didn't matter who you were.
Approachable. You could talk to him. Mm-hmm. I've been to his house. I know you have too. And,
many times, yeah.
And it's just been it was just sad. I got the text a few weeks ago and just was so sad about it because he was just in everything and supported the community. And that's, and those are hard to find today. You know that. I mean, you're out there with me, and it's just hard.
His dad started that Christmas party, Benny, back, I guess, 1970s. And
years ago.
He carried that tradition on. And I remember the old Emery Valley Road, the old stuff. They've just been a central part of the community. And let's give credit to Steve. Steve's done the work, too.
Oh, yeah.
His brother Steve was
a good guy.
My age. And just a lot, just a big loss, just sad. And I know he did such a good job. Had a lot of contracts with NASA and other people. Put a lot of people to work. I know one of your best workers, husband, worked for him for years, and a lot of us had people out there. So,
well, the thing about the contract thing with the NASA stuff, he would. He would talk to you about what they were doing.
Yeah.
And it's just fascinating that was happening right here in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, which a lot of great things have happened here, obviously. But just to do that, which I'm always been fascinated by the NASA and all the space program and stuff that we have here in our country. But, I mean, that happened here. I mean,
Well,
that's wild.
and you know, I do a lot of work in that area, in development work in the federal energy sectors.
Oh, yeah.
Not NASA so much, but work with Congressman Fleischman on a lot of different projects, and that's a very important one. So he will be missed.
Definitely.
Godspeed on that one. Well, tell me about your Cowboys.
Well, they made it. I didn't know. I
They get one home
didn't.
game,
I
at
didn't.
least.
I didn't know about a month ago. My son's named Dallas too, but we didn't. My wife did
Who would
that.
name their
Not-
son Dallas?
not-
I mean, what are you
listen,
doing? What are you
listen,
doing?
I wanted to name him after one of the John Wayne characters, and she wouldn't let me. So.
I'm surprised his middle name ain't Celtic.
But, well, that's true. Now I love my Celtics too, but back in the day especially. But they're there. I think they'll be okay Sunday afternoon. I think Green. You know, that is just a great tradition game for the playoffs with the Ice Bowl and all those memorable games back in the late '60s.
I was 12 when the Ice Bowl happened, and I can remember
I still can't watch
Jerry
the
Kramer
game.
wrote a book called
yeah.
The $1 Million Block, where everybody got 25 grand, right?
Yeah.
40 guys. So he pushed him inside, and Starr went behind him, kind of like Hurts does
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
So
and I still can't watch the game. ESPN will show it
I
on
was a
Classic
Packer
or
fan as a
something.
kid. I loved Bart Starr and Paul Warren.
Now, I did like Bart Starr. But I think they've got a chance. If they win and Detroit wins, you're going to get a rematch that you had 2 weeks ago.
That's a good game.
A real good game.
I don't
but-
think Detroit has an easy game.
No, they don't.
I think
they don't.
Dallas can handle the Packers. Of course, anybody can handle anybody in this day and time. I like Buffalo. They're on a roll.
Buffalo's hot.
San Francisco's always get home field. You got to be.
I think they're probably the favorite. And I'm going to be honest with you. Baltimore's there or not.
I got them all the way.
You know,
I think
they're
win it all.
now they didn't look good. You know, with Pittsburgh. My cousin's
He's
a big
just the most
Steelers
valuable
fan,
player.
but-
That's all I got to
but
say.
yeah,
Stats aside,
he's a player. He's a player.
He makes things happen, and he's been healthy this year. For
He
a
does.
change.
That's the difference.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the whole league's
That's the
down, right?
difference.
Everybody's hurt.
It is.
We lose John Moran. We lose this. What do you think about Mike Vrabel being fired? I was kind of surprised.
I was a little surprised.
Boy, Nashville's upset.
They needed a quarterback, obviously. I thought they would maybe try to do that in the draft this year or go out and get one.
They're going to stick with Levis. My
But,
son's a big fan. He likes him.
Yeah, I like the Titans too, but
are they opened up enough? Somebody talking about, well, let's give Belichick some money and bring him down. Problem is, Belichick and Vrabel are the same person.
They are.
And
Old
Vrabel's
school.
probably gonna go to New England.
Well, I'm hearing that Belichick might go to the Redskins. I think they might write him a check and
Yeah, they got big money
kind
on
of let him clean the GM part out and get that back on track. And so you don't know, man. Listen,
Washington always plays hard. I like Rivera, though. I thought he was.
yeah,
a good
he's
coach.
a good guy. I was a little surprised it couldn't
But
gel
old
up
school.
there.
Everybody's out of the Miami, San Francisco. You know, that new line of coaching. Those guys
Right.
are quick. They know
Right.
what they're doing. And,
They are.
And they got that offensive scheme going. It's not the.
It's a
football we
fast
grew up
game
in.
now. It's not the layup. It's always let's throw that back out
then-
and shoot the three like you used
San
to
Francisco,
back in the day.
long time, way back in the day, peach basket time. But we got, we got the traditional teams like Baltimore and these other guys tend to do well though.
They do. They do.
So if you got,
Yeah.
in the end, it's always in the trenches, right?
It's always in the trenches. You got to control that line,
Right.
in order to do it.
Interesting. Okay. What do you think is going to happen in the political world this summer?
Well,
You and I tend to be conservative. Okay.
we are. I don't. A lot of people thinks Biden's gonna find an exit right. I don't.
I think they play it out.
I think he'll stay and run. I think the Nikki Haley thing, like you said earlier,
She's coming on.
It's coming on. I still
not in
think
Tennessee.
No.
She'll be second in Tennessee, but
She will.
President Trump will win by 30 points.
Easy. And
But DeSantis has just dropped off the chart.
I was a little surprised, and you probably know who's running his campaign, but I don't know what happened there. He just never did catch on.
I just think that Donald Trump, President Trump has become such a brand of, it isn't about the individual, but it's a brand, it's the message, not the
Right.
messenger, that he has become a brand for conservative Americans, and they feel like he was done wrong. And I think, and it's continuing that way, that I think DeSantis needed the same voters, and DeSantis
That's
is
what I
in his
thought,
late
too.
40s.
Yeah.
And
He'll be back.
He couldn't he will, but he can't. He's real smart, but he couldn't transition those people to him.
Right.
And if President Trump had chose not to run, he probably would have done a lot better.
I think one thing about out of all the local, state, and federal races, and we kind of had this a second ago. I do think it's going to be a big turnout all the way in. I do.
I'm hoping. Trump people are upset and they want to vote.
I
mean,
think
we'll
people.
get a
Well, that's
big
what
vote.
I'm hearing. I see it. I talk to enough people, and I know you probably talk to
I
more
poll it
about
all
than I
day
do.
long. Yeah, I mean,
you know,
I get
but
polled.
I still think the turnout will be heavy. We've got new machines. Mark and his staff, Stevens, does a great job with that. But we,
Do you think that the new voters, let's say there's 10 or 11, but you think maybe 14 or 15, if it go over, do you think that those people will tend to be more conservative, the new people?
The ones that have moved, that's come to our counter, and we've had a bunch of people move in California, Michigan, Ohio. They tend to, or they tell me, because I'll
I
go
know,
up and
you
introduce some
exchange with
stuff, and they vote conservative. It's
Yeah,
what-
they're
it's-
trying to get out of where they work.
Right. So
And in the cities of Tennessee, to be fair to both sides, in the cities of Tennessee, I see the opposite.
Right.
They came
I
here,
agree.
they're progressive, but they came here for affordability.
that's the next.
I appreciate
thing.
everybody watching tonight. How much time I got, Brad? 20 seconds. I
Long
appreciate
countdown.
everybody. We're going to have Mayor Gooch and Mayor Frank on in the weeks ahead, as long as some more county people and some more nonprofits. We're trying to keep you up to what's going on in this community. Not a lot of local news, and we're trying to do our best to keep you informed. That's all. Thanks for coming on, Jeff.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.